Hola amigos, I'm Mr. Briggs, El Señor Briggs, your certified Spanish teacher, and today we're going to discuss the must-know basics of Spanish. Whether you are traveling, meeting new friends, or just starting out, this lesson will give you all the essential tools you'll need to start speaking Spanish confidently. This won't be your average beginner lesson. We're going to go deeper to cover the essentials that others miss. ¿Listo? ¿Estás listo? Are you ready? Vamos. Before we get into phrases, let's talk about how language learning really works. As kids, we learn our first language so naturally because our brains were wired to absorb everything around us. Picture a sponge. What happens when you put the sponge in the water? It absorbs everything. That's what happens with children and languages. Now, as adults, we often think making mistakes is the key. Let me clear this up. While mistakes help, the real secret is consistent practice and immersion. Surround yourself with Spanish every day and you'll start seeing progress. Let me tell you about Tom, one of my students. He thought making funny mistakes like me llamo pizza, my name is pizza, was the way to go. But after months, he couldn't hold a real conversation. So I gave him a tip. I said to him, Tom, focus on daily practice, not just mistakes. Tom started listening to music in Spanish, watching TV shows in Spanish, and practicing real sentences every day. Soon, he was ordering food and having conversations in Spanish. That's the power of consistent practice. You heard me right. Consistent practice. La práctica consistente. Now, let's talk about the foundations of Spanish conversations. Question words. These are crucial for everyday situations. And in Spanish, we use the following keywords. Perhaps one of the most important ones, ¿qué? What? ¿Qué? ¿Quién? Who? ¿Cuándo? When? Like the song, dime cuándo, cuándo, cuándo. ¿Dónde? Where? ¿Por qué? Why? Now that's the question, ¿por qué? Two words, por space qué. Do not get mixed up with por qué, all in one word, which means because. The question por qué is composed of two words, por qué, and means why. Another one, cómo, how. These are the building blocks of communication. Imagine being in a Spanish-speaking country. You'll need to ask things like, ¿Dónde está el hotel? Where is the hotel? Or, ¿Cuánto cuesta esto? How much does this cost? By mastering these questions, you'll unlock conversations easily. Let's take these question words and put them into action. Here are some essential phrases you'll be using a lot. The first one, to break the ice, ¿Cómo te llamas? What's your name? ¿Cómo te llamas? Which literally means, what are you called? ¿Cómo te llamas? Can you say it? ¿Cómo te llamas? Now, if you want to ask the person, where do you live? You would ask, ¿Dónde vives? ¿Dónde vives? Where do you live? ¿Dónde? Where? ¿Dónde vives? Where do you live? If you enjoy shopping and buying different souvenirs, how much does it cost? ¿Cuánto cuesta? ¿Cuánto cuesta? ¿Cuánto cuesta? When? ¿Cuándo? When is the party? ¿Cuándo es la fiesta? You notice a new person. That person caught your attention. You ask who? ¿Quién? Who is he? ¿Quién es él? Or who is she? ¿Quién es ella? ¿Quién es ella? You need to be at a specific time. What time is it? ¿Qué hora es? What? ¿Qué? What time is it? ¿Qué hora es? ¿Qué hora es? What time is it? And perhaps the most important one when you are at a beginner level, if you want to ask, how do you say something? ¿Cómo se dice? ¿Cómo se dice? ¿Cómo means how. ¿Cómo se dice? How do you say something? Now, if you want to add in Spanish, how do you say it? In Spanish, you would say, ¿Cómo se dice something en español? For example, how do you say telephone in Spanish? ¿Cómo se dice teléfono en español? ¿Cómo se dice teléfono en español? Muy importante. Remember, listen and repite. ¿Cómo se dice something en español? Take note of cómo se dice because it's one of the most useful phrases you'll ever need. ¿Cómo se dice? Whenever you want to ask how to say something in Spanish, this is your go-to phrase. ¿Cómo se dice? Perhaps you should try really hard to memorize that particular one first. You will be using it quite a lot. Now, let's talk about greetings and polite expressions in Espanol. These are essential to building rapport with Spanish speakers. You want to make a good impression, right? Let's go through some greetings and polite phrases. The first one would be good morning. Buenos días. Have you heard that song? Buenos días, buenos días. That's right, that means good morning. Buenos días, amigo. Now, when it's getting a little bit late in the day, good afternoon. Buenas tardes. Buenas tardes. I don't know, I used to watch a show called Doctor Who, and he used to travel in this time machine called the TARDIS. That may help you to remember the word. Buenas tardes. Good afternoon. And at nighttime, if you're saying good night, you're ready to go to bed, you simply say buenas noches. Adiós, buenas noches. Me voy, I'm leaving, buenas noches. However, there's an interesting exception. In Spanish, you can also greet people at nighttime using buenas noches, which can be used as good evening. Have you ever greeted anyone at nighttime and say good evening, welcome? Well, in Spanish, you also use buenas noches to greet people. So you can use it to say good night, you're leaving, or you can say buenas noches, welcoming people as well. Next one, very important, very polite word, please. Por favor. Por favor. Can you say it? Por favor. Por favor. Please. Next one, you probably already know this, but it's always important to reinforce this word because you will be using them every hour of the day. Thank you. Gracias. We all want to be polite. We all want to make a good impression, especially when traveling overseas. Gracias. You're welcome. De nada. De nada. You're welcome. De nada. If you're walking down the street and you accidentally bump onto somebody or you drop something, you can say, I'm sorry. Lo siento. Lo siento. Or you can simply say, perdón. Sorry, pardon me. Perdón. Now, if you want to get somebody's attention, you can say, disculpe. Excuse me. Disculpe. Now, here's an extra tip, an extra consejo. Use disculpe o perdón if you accidentally bump into somebody or need their attention. Disculpe. Spanish speakers really appreciate it when you are polite. And I think that's not just among Spanish people. It's among, well-educated people throughout the world. Now, I want to give you a little more than just the basics today. Let's add some phrases that you'll need regularly but might not find in most beginner lessons. These are the additional phrases that you haven't seen in other places. Can I help you? ¿Puedo ayudarle? ¿Puedo ayudarle? ¿Puedo ayudarle? Now, if the person feels a little bit more familiar with you or probably is about the same age as you, instead of saying puedo ayudarle, if somebody is more of your age or similar to you, they could say puedo ayudarte. It's a little bit more informal. Puedo ayudarte, more informal. Puedo ayudarle, way more formal. Another important phrase, especially when traveling, so important. Do you have change? ¿Tienes cambio? So before you take your $100 note or bill, you could actually make sure that the other person has change, because sometimes they don't have change and you have to decide whether you let them keep the rest of the change or you walk away. So, do you have change? ¿Tienes cambio? ¿Tienes cambio? Make sure you double check before you make the purchase. ¿Tienes cambio? Is there a pharmacy nearby? ¿Hay una farmacia cerca? That's a cognate, farmacia. We can make connections between those words. ¿Hay una farmacia cerca? Cerca means nearby. ¿Hay una farmacia cerca? Now, the next phrase is also very useful, especially when you're just learning Spanish. If you want to tell somebody, I don't understand, you simply say, no entiendo. No entiendo. No entiendo lets the other person know right away that you don't understand, you have no idea what they're talking about. Now, some people claim that you can say no comprendo. Yes, you can say that too. Even though comprendo, I don't comprehend, doesn't necessarily mean that you don't understand the actual words. But it could mean that you don't comprehend a specific concept or a specific context of what is being discussed. I would stick to no entiendo. It's more international and it really conveys the idea that you don't understand what they're talking about. No entiendo translates directly to I don't understand, implying a general lack of understanding, whether it's about the words, concept, or context. On the other hand, no comprendo also means I don't understand, but it can carry a subtle difference. It often suggests that while you may understand the words being said, you don't grasp the meaning, the concept, or context behind them. It's more like saying, I get the words, but I don't comprehend the bigger picture. Another phrase, I don't speak Spanish very well. No hablo español muy bien. No hablo, I don't speak, español, Spanish, muy bien, very well. No hablo español muy bien. Can you say that? Listen and repeat. Copy my accent, my pronunciation. No hablo español muy bien. Don't say no hablo. We tend to pronounce the English O when speaking Spanish. The O in Spanish is flat, is open. No hablo español muy bien. You can also say, speak more slowly, please. Habla más despacio, por favor. Or just like that song, Despacito. Habla despacito, please. Speak slowly, please. Habla despacito, por favor. If you want to say, of course, you can say, claro. But if you want to sound more sophisticated, instead of saying claro like most people do, you want to sound a little bit more well-educated and Polish, you can say, por supuesto. Por supuesto. That's a different level. I remember I had a doctor that was taking Spanish lessons with me, and he wanted to sound a little bit more Polish. And this was one of his favorite words. He didn't just want to go claro, claro, like everybody. Being a surgeon, he was a surgeon. He was attending a convention in Mexico, and he wanted to sound a little bit more polished in Spanish. So he was using por supuesto all the time. Now, if you have some kind of misunderstanding with somebody and you want to say, oh, it's okay, no problem, you can say, no pasa nada. No pasa nada. It's okay, no problem. No pasa nada. These phrases will help you get through everyday interactions, especially when you are still learning Spanish. still learning the basics. And please, don't be afraid to say, no entiendo, I don't understand, or habla más despacio, por favor. Speak more slowly, please. People will always be willing to help you. They can see that you're making an effort, and a lot of them feel flattered that you're learning their language. Now, let's also cover some basic time and date phrases which are essential if you are traveling or scheduling anything. For example, let's say you want to ask, what day is today? ¿Qué día es hoy? ¿Qué día es hoy? Can you say it? ¿Qué día? What day? Es, is, hoy, today. ¿Qué día es hoy? The syntax, the sentence is pretty much exactly the same in English and in Spanish in this particular example. ¿Qué día? What day? Es hoy? Is today? Another important phrase, especially when discussing time, is at what time? ¿A qué hora? At what time? ¿A qué hora? ¿A qué hora? Today. Hoy. That's an easy one. Hoy. Today. Hoy. Tomorrow. Mañana. Mañana, like that song. Y mañana, mañana. And tomorrow, tomorrow. Mañana. There's another song called Yesterday. And there's also a Spanish song called Ayer, which means yesterday. Ayer. Can you say ayer? This week. Esta semana. Esta semana. This week. Next month. El próximo mes. Mes in Spanish means month. El próximo. Next month. El próximo mes. Last year. El año pasado. El año pasado. And please make sure that you pronounce año properly. Año. El año pasado. If you want to know why this is so important, I'll leave a link here for you to watch my video that explains it. El año pasado. Now, learning this will help you navigate daily life, whether you're making plans or asking about the time. Muy bien, amigos. We've covered a lot today. From essential question words to greetings, polite phrases, and even some extra vocabulary. That's right, vocabulario extra that will make your life easier when speaking Spanish. But remember, learning these phrases is just the start. The real key is practice. Practice consistently, and you'll see the results. Keep immersing yourself in Spanish daily. If you found this lesson helpful, don't forget to subscribe for more consejos, tips from a certified native Spanish teacher. Let me know in the comments which phrase you're excited to try out first. And remember, language learning is a journey, and I'm here to guide you every step of the way. Nos vemos pronto, amigos. Take care. Chao, chao.